velvet football pants, a vest made out of light bulb chains,
Right.
a Viking helmet with glass grapes on the end of these horns. I was like, oh my God.
That's fun.
But luckily,
We're good?
Yes, sir.
cool.
But you dig that? You always roll with that stuff and enjoy it? Or you feel
Oh
ridiculous?
yeah, well, the pair was so funny. He had a bindi and peacock feather thing on. He goes, look, Mike, we want to have fun, but we don't want to look stupid. You got it.
You
Chief.
good?
You got it, boss. Pair's like that. He's very earnest,
Right.
but also
Yeah.
great. I got to see him at that Yoko Ono. Good health.
Mm-hmm.
Because those were kind of crazy days back then.
Yeah. Well, how have you managed to survive and persevere and be making the best music of your career at this point? Not everyone did. Not everyone made it through those crazy years. And you know, you're still kicking. You've been through stuff, but you're a survivor. And you're doing well.
No, well, some of it's luck, like 99%. And no, but I do keep pushing. I got into music to be with my best friend, so I never looked at it as like as a musician as much as this is how we hang out. This is what we do. And then when I lost him, at first I thought nobody wanted to see me without him, and then I don't know. A guy like Thurston, he brought me to do this Chaconi Youth. Well, you got to keep going. And then I thought about it. Okay, I keep going, even without him. I think of him a lot. You say right now music? I wrote this new piece all on his Telecaster. Yeah, I was kind of like asking him help a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 25 years,
Yeah.
26 years. But whenever I have doubts or stuff, I think it's momentum from them days. I always thought punk was a kind of a state of the mind, so I just kept. I didn't like nail things to some kind of style or paradigm, and I could just somehow, as long as I didn't get killed, I could keep going.
Uh-huh. And like with this new record, though, we're talking about kind of style. In some ways, this is kind of distilling the best of what you do.
I went back a little, huh? I didn't listen to Minutemen for a while after he got killed because it made me kind of down. But you know about this We Jam Econo?
Mm-hmm.
These young guys, they were
Sure.
too young to see us, Keith and Tim, but they made a documentary about it. So I had to listen to it again, and I kind of dug it. I was like, whoa, no filler here. I mean, we got the idea from this England band called Wire, but this idea of making this song, I remember D. Boone saying once at practice, people work all week to see the gig. We're not going to waste their time. And so I thought, man, I want to go back and do that somehow. And then about the same time, I was on tour with the Stooges in Madrid, Spain. Huh? They got a museum there called Prado. And there's these, well, I had to look. I couldn't find them at first, but Hieronymus Bosch, because they call him El Bosco. So I found where El Bosco was. And they got 7 or 8 of them. And I thought, whoa, all these little things to make one big thing. This is kind of like Minuteman. And I always tripped on that stuff as a kid. How could this be in a church? These little creatures, these weird things. Some have pope suits, some have nun suits, just all this collection of things. And I thought, well, I'll use these 2 things, part of my past, and part of some guy from 500-year-old Holland. Mm-hmm. And what I'll talk about now. Because I thought being 53-year-old punk rocker was a weird thing. So I should write about it now. Third thing, the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy. Because she's dealing with the lion, the scarecrow, the tin man. They're the farmhands. Figured that out. At the end, you were there. So, again, pieces of things. I was thinking about middle age, man. You start asking yourself, what am I? Asking all this validation of things. Maybe society, maybe this, your peers, maybe yourself in the broken up 30 pieces of mirror, which is my 30. So I think it was kind of I don't know the man who wrote it, same like with the Bosch, so I use my own. Mm-hmm. But maybe Dorothy is tripping on what dudes do to be dudes. There's Flying Monkey Man, there's Witch's Guards, there's Munchkin, there's the man behind the curtain man. And what's he say? Where I come from, if you're smart, you get the diploma, if you're brave, you get the medal. Right? If you're got a heart, you get the clock. Got kind of a lame. Actually, in the book, he's a Tin Woodsman.
Right.
They couldn't have that in the movie. But she's tripping on what dudes do to be dudes. And I think I was thinking about that too, a little bit. So it's 30 different kinds of men, to tell the third opera.
And putting that together, getting through that process, and now bringing it out to people on the road. What's that like for you in here when you're kind of pouring all that forth? You live through that emotion every time?
Yeah. You know, I did 2 others, right? A first one and a second.
Mm-hmm.
First one was about the Minutemen. Very sad ending. Toured it for 14 months and tore me apart. I haven't done it since. Second opera about the sickness that almost killed me 10 years ago. Did that for a year, couldn't do it because yeah, you're right. When you're doing this, you relive these emotions. Mm-hmm. This one's kind of okay in a way. Because once I got brave enough to come out and do it, it was all right. It was hard to get it out. That's why I used his guitar in a way for him to try to help me. Mm-hmm. But once it got out, I know these are supposed to be the freak out years, right? The crisis or something. But actually okay. I mean, the body's a little lamer, but man, I made it through a lot of experiences. I'm here to do more work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's an okay thing. So the hard part about this one is actually doing it because there's a lot of spiels, a lot of parts, when you got a lot of little things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a bad thing though, because the bottom message of this, what I'm trying to relate to people who maybe hate me, life's for learning. This is what Watt found out. So me trying to learn this thing in front of people, still, I might blow some clams still. I'm a lot better than I was the first time we did it.
So how much fun is it still for you though, just on a visceral level, to still be banging it out? I'm driving in the car, and as I slowly listen to the record 3-4 times, all that stuff you're talking about is making sense, and I'm digging it even after talking to you. But on a visceral level, I'm just hearing you being Watt, and I love it the way I loved it 20 years ago, or more.
Well, me and my 2 guys, there's something about the trios that brings me back to being with D-Boone. I'll always be playing. There's something about building a gig and doing it. Yeah, to have some ideas behind the program is kind of happening, but just like you say, the visceral, the act of doing it, the knowing is in the doing. It's truly righteous thing. This is why when we were from arena rock, huh? I'm 13 in 1970, so we saw the punk gigs, it was like, wow. So we decided to divide the world into 2 categories. There's gigs and flyers. Everything that was not the gig was the flyer. Even the records. Kind of changed my mind a little bit. Now I look at them as noun works. Because maybe they're there after we're gone. So we didn't think about when we're gone in those old days. Mm-hmm. So I think about that a little more, that middle age put a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of a flyer to get people to gig stuff too.
Right. All that kind of there when you're gone kind of plays into the kind of legendary status you kind of attain, what people, the film about what you guys do. And over the last number of years, people look up to you, and you probably have lots of bands for years coming up to you and saying you're doing it all because of you. And how does that all sit with you at this point?
I told Richard Hell that. I got to talk to Mr. Bukowski. I think it's a chain. We're all hooked up. Mm-hmm. Not just people that are people know about, but just cats. Mm-hmm. When I said student for life, I also mean everybody's got something to teach me. So if some other cat wants to bring that back on, wow, I'm very grateful to it. But yeah, even the bass I'm playing was given to me. Mm-hmm. I did this gig. My stuff got stole, all the Stooges stuff, right in Montreal. And this guy named Dan, I called the Dan bass. He went, "What, you want me to give you some?" It's okay. He gives me this bass. So I'm very grateful. Mm-hmm. This just makes me more earnest when it's time to do.
Yeah.
Not take for granted. Mm-hmm. Saying about service and lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a mission.
Right. But what's an average, like you're always keeping busy, between gigging and you're still touring the world, and there's still a demand to see what you're up to. What's it like knowing that the audience hasn't left, and you can probably get new kids out to shows that are, that have maybe heard about some of this, and maybe they haven't, or their parents are dragging them, or they just want to go see some good rock and roll. When you look out at an audience, you see a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old probably some gig. It must be a cool feeling.
It's a trip. I've done Warped Tour gigs.
Yeah.
Where their parents were seeing it.
Right.
It is a trip. It's That's something we didn't think about in the old days. You know, life deals you the hand. Now you got to play it. So I don't take it for granted. Those cats. My first gig was T-Rex. I was 14. And God, he was a mile away. So these cats, they get to be up close. I like that. Maybe they have a little better than I did. But people are talking, you got to learn to listen. A cat might have a word that you need. Same as somebody just starting on the bass, you'd be surprised. I have to admit, I always check out the bass player.
Yeah.
First. So, it's trippy about that. The next shift. But the next shift's important.
How much of the collective, the guys you used to hang out with back, are still a community you still talk to?
Yeah,
from the SEC?
There still is. Yeah. Now it's through the email a lot more. But I got to play with the Mean Puppets, a few gigs that got back together. Thurston's going to open up for me in Connecticut, not far from where I grew up. And yeah, he called me up. I want to be on the bill.
Great.
So we still got community like that. We can actually share too with music because of this internet thing. In the old days, you had to be in the same room with the guy. But it is a little different.
Yeah.
In that, I remember Minutemen, Black Flag in the same van, 10 of us.
Things have changed so much.
A little more distance.
Yeah, just industry-wise, and you hear young bands talking about complaining about getting their music out, and things are on the internet and how it all works. But for someone like you, and you've seen so many changes in the music industry for so many years, are things easier for you in some sense, where you're just doing your thing and you know how it works for you, and that's all that matters? Or have you had to kind of evolve from year to year and follow trends?
Basically do what we did in the old days because it wasn't a very liked scene. It's not that popular.
Yeah.
So we had to learn a lot of self-reliance. So it was okay in the long run. So I still, I'm going to do 51 gigs in 52 days, right? Because when you ain't playing, you're paying. And that probably goes back to vaudeville. Some of this stuff, I do hear a bunch of hand wringing and belly aching. But every era has some kind of challenges. Actually, I think for music, a little easier now than the older days. Things are more econo. Record. Cats can record in their bedroom. You couldn't really do that before.
Yeah.
Fanzine kind of changed into websites. I think the ethics are still there if you want to use it. Maybe there's not such a maybe big labels don't have the same. That's different.
Right. You keep doing your thing. When you're up there,
I worked with them for 14 years.
Sure.
Very kind. I never changed. And they were very kind to me. Never, no demos. I remember going up to the top of the Death Star 550, and there's the boss, you don't blink. I want to do an opera about 3 guys in a boat. He said, do it. I got a brother who drives a truck. We talked about that for a while. I never took tour support. Tours made money. Jeremy Cano. So I'm not really missing it.
Yeah.
Because it worked then, and I just thought if I was going to take chances, I would rather do with the crazy music.
When you're halfway through a gig and you get that smile on your face, when you're just pounding away, and you're up there with that smile, that people that know you know and love, and you get your smile, what's going through your head in those moments?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Man, don't space walk. These days, don't fall over. Also, very grateful, man. The gig goers are very important. Very important people. They help be part of the gig. So I'm like, a lot of that's just gratitude. A lot of it's being with my guys there too. It's a trippy thing. It's like bringing the prac pad right in front of them and getting involved. That's why I set up with my guys way up front. The old word opportunity. Not the B word burden. You know? That's the way I look at it.
And what's it like having these cats with you now?
Yeah. Tom and Raul. They're right with me. They're beautiful. Beautiful. Man, to wrap around an idea, wrap around a thing, and no agenda, no alternative. It's just about, it's all like being boys again. It's kind of a pure trip.
Yeah.
I like it.
Speaking of being boys again, all my friends wanted me to ask him this. Any chance you ever call up George Hurley and Ed?
I talked to
Ed
him 2 days ago. Me and Georgie got asked to do a duet in December when it comes up in England for some old Minutemen schools, just as a duet called All Tomorrow's Parties. Yeah. Some man curating had asked for us, and Georgie said, yeah! So we'll be playing with him.
Right.
Edward lives in Pittsburgh now.
Yeah.
So on this tour, I'm going to go through Pittsburgh. Come on, Edward, play. When I was there a year and a half ago, he came up and played with us.
Yeah.
But maybe play with him again. All three of us.
Yeah. Ever a chance of ever doing that again out here or anywhere? Or
If Edward came to SoCal and practiced,
called you up?
he called me last summer about it. He said, Michael, I'm writing songs. I said, bring him, Edward. But that was a good crew too, man.
Yeah.
20 tours, 7.5 years.
Yeah. But
And it was a very heavy part of my time.
sure.
Losing D. Boone, and Edward came from Ohio. Just found my number in a phone book. I didn't know you had to pay to be enlisted.
But you're doing good stuff now, and you're making it happen now. The new record's awesome. Real pleasure to talk to you. Good stuff. Good stuff. My pleasure.
We are rolling and spinning, gentlemen.
Go for it.
Whenever you guys are ready.
Thanks, Ed. Came first with a man back in the shell, tell the plan. Version to the beer, spit from the head, coming out here. Now one axe is booted, the other from Bolo. Carrying a parent from the cracks, one side's witness, confused by the facts. Now one axe is booted, the other from Bo. Every second we're muted, only half of the whole. If you're snake man, if you're snake man, if you're snake man, if you're snake man. Fumbling for footing on screwed up ice skates. Funnel full of follies fitted firmly to hand. The message is in the beat. Speak. Picking their subsidity, mixing out with the finest food. Meanwhile, the assault begins. Third lets the castle starts hammering. Funnel cap, steadfast to cherish some of your attributes. Blessings.